Okay, so right now we're going to do our little bit of talk, our boxing talk for Lamont Peterson versus Lucas the Savage Matthysse. And this is going to be a good fight, guys. Now, it also happened on my birthday, so the likelihood is I either won't remember the fight for being pretty much paralytic, or I won't watch the fight and I'll just catch it up in the morning. But I understand you guys are going to watch it live, well, when I say live, on TV. So, we'll start with you guys. Who do you think is going to win this fight? And do you like this fight? Armando, tell me what you think, mate.
I think it's a fantastic fight. It definitely is. It definitely is a fight that I can definitely see it not going 12 rounds. I'm pulling for Lucas. I like Lucas a little bit more than Lamont, and I actually think he is probably going to win. So.
Go on, Christopher. Do tell.
Yeah, I like the fight. If we take away what Peterson's done beforehand, I think it's a good fight. I think stylistically it's going to be an absolute war. I think it'll be interesting while it lasts, and I think Matthysse will win.
Okay. Go on, Paul.
I think I'll be the only one to say this, but I can see it going 12 rounds, to be honest. It's an absolute brilliant fight because the styles gel perfectly. It's going to be like two trains crashing into each other. Because they both come forward, they both like to bang. It's not going to be a snooze fest, is it?
Of course.
You know what? I'm going to go for the upset. I think Peterson might just pull it out a decision.
Pull out the decision. Woo, woo, woo. James, come on. Tell me what you think, pal.
Yeah, mate, I absolutely love this fight. Absolutely love this fight. I think it's going to be like a modern day Hearns Hagler, but I could see it going a lot longer than that fight. So yeah, I can't wait.
Well, who's going to win?
Who's going to win?
Yeah.
I'm edging to Peterson.
Peterson, so we got 2-2. Right, I'm gonna keep on the fence right now, but I do like Matthysse. He is one of my favourites, but I can also see the chance that this fight is probably going to go distance. However, I would probably rather I'm not going to be on the fence. I'd like Matthysse to win, but I could also see Lamont Peterson squeezing out a decision under the right circumstances. But I'm going to go Lucas Matthysse will win this fight via a controversial decision. Who knows if it's for him or against him. It could be controversial. Let's see how it goes. So let's get straight into the attributes, guys. Okay? Which fighter's got the power? Armando.
That's a tough question because we may not know Lamont's true power. Because obviously, everybody knows what happened with him and Amir Khan and him actually coming out and actually being a man about, using, performance-enhancing drugs. He looked sensational against Kendall Holt. He looked like he had a lot of power in him. But Lucas just is naturally a power puncher as well. I almost want to say 50-50, sort of. Either guy could definitely end the other guy with one punch, sort of, depending on the situation.
Maybe. Go on, Chris. What do you reckon? Who's got the power?
I'd say Matthysse has unquestionably got the power in this fight. A brief look at his record, his KO percentage is miles above Peterson. I think the other thing to look at as well, Peterson can be a slow starter. He can get dropped. I just think everything's for Matthysse in this fight.
Yeah, has been dropped numerous times, in the first few rounds. Look at Ortiz, look at Khan. Khan's not a big puncher either, but we'll come into that later, because I've got more things we can talk about on that front. Paulie, Mac, go on, do tell. Who's got the power?
I'd edge towards Matthysse, to be honest, because, like Chris said, he's got the massive KO percentage, hasn't he? And a lot of his knockouts have come like the first or second round. He's punch for punch, Matthysse, but Peterson himself's a great puncher. He's really improved his punching in his last couple of fights. Picks his punches a lot better, and he's got more of a pressure sort of style, hasn't he? Now, he used it against Khan, he used it against Holt. On Matthysse, he's kind of a guy who looks for that one big shot, while Peterson kind of just comes forward and overwhelms his opponents. So he likes to win with volume. Matthysse likes to just win with the one punch knockout. But I'd lean towards Matthysse and just with power.
Okay, James, what do you reckon, mate?
Yeah, no, I think on the face of it, you have to sort of edge to Matthysse. He seems to have, bigger one punch concussive power compared to Peterson. But I do think Peterson's started to display more power the last few fights. He seems to, I don't know whether it's he's sitting down his punches more, but he does seem to be able to do quite a lot quite a lot more damage than maybe what he used to be able to do. But I think the other thing is, I think Peterson's power is tested at a higher level, whereas Matthysse, he hasn't really knocked out anybody. You know, I mean, he's got a great knockout percentage, but when you look at his record, his best knockout is what? Elusigan or Mike Dallas Jr.
Or Soto. Humberto Soto. Never been down as a pro.
Yeah, but Soto...
Knocked down, made him quit. You know, I mean... Well, yeah, you know, I think that basically you gotta edge Lucas Matthysse here. Obviously, on the back of it, just knocked out his opponent in one, left him unconscious for ages on the floor. Counter that with Lamont Peterson knocking out his opponent in a few. But then again, if you go a bit further back, like I just pointed out, you know, Matthysse destroyed Jose Elusigan, one of my favourite fighters, one of my absolute favourite fighters right now. Destroyed him. I bet on the Jose. He just beat the shit out of him. It was sad to watch. And then before that, made Humberto Soto quit. You know, really did beat the shit out of him too. So you got to look at that. And then on the backside of that, Lamont Peterson having his fight with Amir Khan. You know, glass-chinned Amir Khan. Let's not forget. And he didn't really ever put him in major trouble. That's what you can't really deny. So question marks over Lamont Peterson's power for me, and you know, big exclamation marks behind Matthyse's power. But let's move on to the speed. How much of an advantage, and who'd you give it to, Armando?
Speed, man, that's kind of a kind of difficult question, because I don't think either guy is really fast. I think they're pretty average speed. I think I would have to edge it out to Lucas a little bit more than Lamont, because Lamont seems to be a little bit more slower. He you know, he kind of swings a little bit wild. I think Matthysse probably edges him in the speed department.
Okay. What do you reckon, Chris?
Yeah, I think that's desperately close, to be honest. I think it's not about boxing Peterson, it's about brawling. If you're going to go with band speed or something like that, I'd go with Matthysse, definitely, but it's very close just on natural speed.
Yeah. Paul?
Same as Armando, really. Neither guy's really that fast. Peterson, he kind of just ploughs forward in straight lines a little bit, doesn't he?
Yeah.
While Matthysse kind of throws punches from different angles and kind of moves around a little bit more. But I don't think either guy's really that fast. Neither one of them's Amir Khan, are they?
No, definitely not. James, do you want to end the speed debate?
Yeah, I think neither guy's particularly quick, but in terms of hand speed, I'd edge towards Peterson. Foot speed, maybe I'll go with Matthysse.
Yeah. Okay. We're going to move on to movement and stuff now. I mean, I've got to ask you guys questions. How impressed are you with the improvements Lucas has made in terms of his foot speed and the way he cuts down the ring? Armando?
Well, just like you spoke about the Jose fight, you know, he fought Judah, he fought Devin. I think he just got tired of these kind of bullshit, close kind of fights on the scorecards. So I think he's just a tank now, and he wants to finish his fighters off. So of recent, I mean, Lucas is just on a roll. I mean, he's literally crushing people he's just crushing people, and it's just like, it's astounding at how I feel Lucas is now. I feel like he's more of a complete fighter, because, like I said, with the Jose fight, Jose's much faster,
much slicker.
Much slicker. I mean, just in overall, besides the power, had every advantage over Lucas. But for some reason, Lucas was just cutting him off. Again, he was just cutting him off, and was landing. And Jose just couldn't do anything to Lucas, and I was astounded.
Kept fighting back, though. He kept fighting back at Jose.
He fought back. Sadly, he took a lot of punishment.
Yep.
To where he finally stopped him. But yeah, Lucas is just on a fucking freight train. You know, he's like, I'm not stopping for nobody. And it's gonna be fireworks. It's gonna be fireworks.
Yeah, it's gonna be a great fight. You know, props to Lamont for taking the fight. It's a great fight. It is a great fight. Chris, come on, what do you reckon? We're talking movement. Which one's got the advantage, and how impressed are you with their movement?
Yeah, Matthyse's movement's improved massively. If you watch his Abdullah fight, he walks forward in straight lines too often. After Devin Alexander, especially against Soto, if you watch the way he cuts the ring down, it's really impressive.
I just want to stop you there, Chris. The Jose fight, the way he was cutting the ring down, but he was also stalking at the same time. Jose didn't know where the punch was coming from. The speed that he was getting towards him, it was frightening.
Yeah, if you can make Lusigan look easy to hit, and he kind of did in that fight, you've got to be impressed with Matthysse. He's definitely done his own work, and he's got more effective at cutting the ring down. Yeah.
Took on board some of his criticisms, I think.
Yeah, definitely has.
Yeah, Paul, what do you reckon?
Going off what the guy said, Matthysse, he's really improved his movement, because he's like a little torpedo now, isn't he? That locks onto his target.
Yeah, it's like a heat seeker, isn't it? That's what it is. That's a good little
analogy.
Yeah. Comparison.
He doesn't give his opponent a minute's breathing space, does he?
No.
And, I watched this fight with Soto, and he hit Soto with every shot in the book, really, didn't he?
Oh yes. We're going to come on to this later, but
yeah, that's what I mean. He's really, he gets closer to his opponents now instead of just marching forward in a straight line, a bit naively would be the right way, like he used to do. Now he really thinks about what he's doing more, and his opponents just can't live with him. So yeah.
James, do you want to end it on the movements?
Yeah, I think Matthysse is definitely improved with his movement, but it's difficult because obviously he fought Zabjud and he's fought Devin Alexander, who are they're the two best opponents he's sort of fought, and they're both good boxers, quite good movers. Probably Zabjud more so than Matthysse, and maybe he has sort of learnt his lesson that he needs to close people down more. He needs to put the pressure on and not let them sort of get off the hook. But the only problem I've got is that since fighting those two fights, he's taken a step down in competition. Like I like Lusigan, I do really like him, but at the same time he'd essentially fought nobody before.
Yeah, but he was mandatory for 2 or 3 years.
He was, but it doesn't take. I'm not saying it's not his fault. He doesn't have a big promotional powerhouse behind him or anything like that. But the bottom line is, he hadn't fought anybody. He was also coming off a long layoff, and he put up I thought he put up a very, very good showing. And
definitely.
I think the only difference in the fight was that Mathisse's power was more devastating than Lusigan's, because Matthysse was getting hit in that fight. So. Yeah, I think he has improved his movement. I think he does look scary when he gets guys where he wants them, but I think he needs to prove that he can do it against a higher quality of opponent.
But that's the thing, James, is Lamont isn't going to move. He's going to stand in front of Lucas.
Armando, we'll come aside a second. Please don't steal my thunder. Please don't steal the thunder.
Go ahead.
So I'll give you a bit of an opinion on who's the movement, and I've coached it out of you on who I think is doing what. Well, we're going to move on to the chin, okay? And don't worry, we're going to come to that in a minute, Armando. But
that's fine.
Well, we're going to start with the chin. Who's got the better chin? People say they don't like talking about chins, but sometimes in boxing, chins are the most important thing in the business. If you can't take a shot, you're going to find yourself lying on the floor, and that's not where you want to be. In the boxing game, is it? No.
Unless you get paid off. So.
Well, yeah. Unless you bet on yourself to lose by a knockout. Yeah.
Exactly. No, I'm just messing with you. Go ahead.
So, who's got the better chin?
Me?
Yeah. I don't know. I've never seen you take a shot.
well, no. I mean, Lucas. Because Khan's, dropped Lamont. Did Ortiz drop Lamont?
Yeah, I think so.
So yeah, I mean, he recovered well from those fights. I mean, people get knocked down all the time and they recover, but as far as my knowledge, Lucas hasn't been knocked down. So just based on that alone, I'll have to say Lucas.
Yeah, I agree. Go on, Chris.
This is where it's a problem for Lamont Peterson. Is this? He gets caught early, he goes down often. He went down against Bradley, non-puncher, Amir Khan, non-puncher.
Yeah.
Fair enough, Ortiz can punch, but he went down twice in that fight.
Mm-hmm.
There's absolutely no question that he's got a worse chin than Matthysse.
I agree. Paul?
Yeah, I don't think Mathisse's ever been down, has he?
No.
Peterson have a few times, and you can only go on the facts, can't you?
Yeah.
Peterson, I don't think his chin is really, really bad. Or anything like that. I don't think it's the best, but every time he's kind of been down, it's always been by, you know, like kind of one of those shots that you don't see coming.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
I don't think he's never been banged out like Matthysse knocks his guys down sort of thing. He's never been smacked and then put right on his arse and stuff and been down for a while. I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
It's always been one of those things where he's just been caught. And he's got good heart as well, hasn't he, Peterson? He's the type of guy. Whenever he goes down, he will get back up and fight it out. He's not
of course, yeah. That's a good thing. That's a good thing in thriving boxing. However, I'm not sure that would be a good thing in his fight.
Yeah, what I mean is when he does go down, he's not a fellow who just folds.
Oh, of course, he's not Victor Ortiz. No.
Yeah, when he goes down, so yeah, he's not got the best of chins, but I think his heart kind of, in a lot of cases, makes up for his chin because he does bite down the gum shield and get back up and keep fighting.
Very good point. James?
I think it's more difficult actually because I think Mathisse's chin, Lamont Peterson's chin, to keep harping on about the same point, but it's been tested by better fighters, bigger punchers, for me anyway, than what Matthysse has.
Zab Judy's a big puncher.
Yeah, he is.
Got more knockouts than Lamont Peterson's had fights.
Yeah, good point. No, I mean Zab Judah is a big puncher, but he's probably one of the only sort of world class punchers he's been in there with. Because I definitely don't count Devin Alexander as a world class puncher.
Of course not. Nope.
And you know, Elusigan, it's hard to say he's a world class puncher because he's not fought really truly on the world level. So no, I think Matthisse's Peterson's chin's been tested by Victor Ortiz, and you know he is a big puncher. There's no doubt about that.
Big puncher.
It's been tested by Amir Khan, who he's not necessarily a huge puncher, but he can do damage.
Not a big puncher in my opinion.
When he lands, he can do damage. So yeah, I think Peterson's been tested by the bigger punchers, but yeah, the problem for Peterson is he gets caught early, and he does go down. Whereas we haven't seen that happen with Matthysse. So I'll edge to Matthysse on the fact I've never seen him in any sort of trouble.
Okie doke, yeah. I mean, with me, I'm pretty much in agreement with everyone, really. Lucas has the better chin. Lamont, for a few reasons, seems to go down quite regularly, unfortunately, in big fights. You know, I think it's always early in fights too, except for the Bradley fight. I mean, went down to Bradley, non-puncher, but I think that was to body work, I think, so, you know, maybe he's weak to the body, but we'll see about that later on. Amir Khan dropped in twice, only got counted once. Both were, knockdowns in my opinion. And also Victor Ortiz knocked him down twice early. So it's leaky defence, lack of concentration sometimes, and, a shaky chin. All of which does not bode well if you're fighting a big puncher with a high work rate who throws some weird and wonderful angles. But we'll move on. He's definitely in this fight. I want to point this out. He's definitely in this fight. I mean, I've not even told you I'm going to bet on yet. So, okay. There's two questions, Armando. How will Lamont Peterson fight? So just start with that one first. How do you expect Lamont Peterson to fight?
Well, Lamont has said that he is willing to go toe-to-toe, and I kind of believe him. So I really think Lamont is going to feed into Lucas's style, and they're gonna mesh well together. He's gonna go toe to toe, he says. So I would assume he's gonna go toe to toe.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna lie. Okay, I think that is gonna be bad for his health. Okay, how the best way? Okay, I'm trying to rephrase that now. The best way, right? If Lamont Peterson were to win, would probably be boxing on the back foot. Keeping Matthysse off balance. Keep resetting the angles.
He's not going to do that. He's not gonna...
Can he do that? Can he do that?
No, he's not.
Does he have
can't.
any of the attributes needed to be able to do that? No.
He isn't a master slick puncher. He's a kind of a semi-flat-footed, come forward kind of guy, sort of. And he's not. He can't outbox Joe. He can't outbox Lucas.
Mm-hmm.
He's got to make it a fucking. It's gonna be two silverback gorillas and they're just fucking each other up. It's pretty much what it's gonna boil down to.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Chris, what do you think? 2 questions. How do you expect him to fight? Starting with that one.
I think he'll fight like an idiot and walk straight forward and get knocked out. I can't see him outboxing Matthysse. I think he's classically slightly better, but I just cannot see him trying to outbox Matthysse.
Yeah. Okay, you've basically answered both of them, so that's brilliant. Okay, Paul, what do you reckon, pal? Question.
Again,
okay, yeah, go on.
I think he's just gonna march forward, doesn't he, and try and slug it out. He's a proud guy, is Peterson. He's not gonna want to concede a yard of ground, is he? He's gonna come forward and bang. I mean, even if he were to try and outbox on the back foot, I've never really felt he was that good at a slick boxing anyway.
I don't think he's ever done it successfully.
Yeah, I think he tried it against Bradley, didn't he? And
failed. Yeah.
He's doing it.
What did you say, sorry, Chris?
He improved a little bit trying to box against Ortiz.
Yeah, I guess, but I'm not even convinced he won that decision, mate. Or deserved the draw.
Yeah, but what I mean is, I don't rate him much as a... Even if he were to try and outbox Ortiz on the back foot, I don't think he'd be able to do it, because I just don't think he's got the skills.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's going to come forward and try and bang Matthysse, and whether you think that's stupid or not, I think that's what he's going to do. He's a proud guy.
Yeah, and it'll be great for the fans. At the end, he's still in the fight. He has got a chance of winning this fight. I'm going to keep stressing that. So yeah, I mean, like, it'll be a good fight for everyone.
That's the fight we want to see.
Exactly.
I don't want to see him stand on the back foot and box and fail. I'd rather he came forward and banged and gave us something to cheer about.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think he'd take more pride by coming forward and getting knocked out than he would being on his bike all fight and being bored. Because at least if he gets knocked out, he can say he went out on his shield, like a champion shield.
Yeah, I guess so. James, what do you reckon, pal?
No, I think Peterson's boxing skills are massively underrated. I think he can. I think he can box on. I think he can box on the back foot. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying he's going to do that for the whole fight, but I see him mixing it up. I truly think he's going to mix it up because he is a proud guy. He's a proud fighter, and he does come to war. He does come to sort of assert his will, and I think he's got a bigger heart than most guys, in boxing. But I think Barry Hunter is a very good trainer, and I think he knows how to formulate a game plan. He knows how to sort of strategize for a fighter, and I think he knows that, and also more importantly, he has the ear of Peterson. Peterson does listen to him. Obviously they've got a big history together that goes way beyond the ring. So I see him mixing it up, and I think if they come up with a game plan where it's sort of he's asked to box on the back foot a little bit and sort of get in and trade and smother Peterson's work. I think he will do that, and that's one thing to say as well. There's a difference between him just sort of going forward and trying to trade at the range that Matthysse likes to trade at, which isn't in the phone booth really. I think Matthysse likes to have a little bit of space to get off his big shots. Whereas I think what Peterson can do, which is essentially get on a guy's chest and go to work, I've never seen Matthysse put under that sort of pressure.
Well,
so it'll be very interesting to see how he deals with that, and also whether he can get off his big shots.
True, that'll be a good point. However, I just want to point you towards the Humberto Soto knockout. Soto, Lucas was actually right on his chest at that point, and he hits him with a left, a right, and another left. Or it was a right, left, and right again. It was three huge shots that he brought out from the inside that knocked this guy down for the first time in his career. So, I wouldn't count Lucas out on the inside. I think he's massively underrated on the inside.
Yeah, but for me though, I can't respect the Humberto Soto knockout just purely on the basis that he's just absolutely not a 140 pounder, whereas Peterson is a big guy at 140.
Okay, that's okay. Yeah, moving on from there, we're going to talk about something else now. What do you all think about testing in this fight? Should there be drug testing in this fight, Armando?
Well, yeah, I think in the Kendall Hope fight, there was some crap going on, but in the end, he was clear, Lamont.
Yeah.
And Lucas had a little bit of some controversy that was kind of cleared up. Something about, I don't know what that. I guess he took some crap, and people were like, "What the hell is going on?" And do you remember what it was, Mark? Do any of you guys remember what that was?
Yeah, I think he just took like an amino acid pill.
Is that what that is? Okay.
Yeah, and
So-
what's his face? Khan's trainer went ape shit.
Oh, okay. But yeah, I just think, I guess, yeah, I mean, with Lamont's a little bit of a shady past. Why not? I'm sure, Lamont is all for it. I mean, I think he's trying to clear his name up. And I think if he gets this big win over Lucas, I mean, he's definitely, going to clear that name up. So, yeah, I think there should be no reason for why there shouldn't be a drug test.
Chris, what do you reckon about drug testing in this fight? Do you reckon they should be done?
Absolutely, especially for Lamont Peterson. I mean, just a basic looking at his conditioning. If you look before Amir Khan, he never looked anything like that. If you look in the Timothy Bradley fight and then look at the Amir Khan fight, how the fuck's he got that big?
True. He was always a small guy at the weight. Now he's really big. But
His hench, he's got fucking hench.
yeah, we'll see. I guess we'll see about that. Paul, what do you reckon, mate?
Yeah, there's got to be drug testing, hasn't there?
Yeah.
I think there should be drug testing at weight level anyway, but
Yep.
when you consider Peterson's past and the fact that, like you said, Matthysse had a bit of a controversy as well, I think you can never be too careful, can you?
No.
And because it would be such a shame if we had this great fight and one of these fellas had such a great victory or something, and then afterwards we found out that the whole fight was tainted by a drug, by a failed drug test or something. You don't want that, do you? You want a great fight like this to be 100% clean.
Yeah.
You want fans to be able to like it without thinking afterwards, there's no point now because that fight was dirty, sort of thing.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah, definitely. I agree with
You
you.
don't want to ruin it for the fans by finding out that either one of the guys was cheating. You want fans to be able to enjoy it.
Of course. What do you reckon, James?
Yeah, well, I think that I think there should be drug testing throughout boxing, but I think that's not realistic. So I think you need to definitely have drug testing in every single world title fight. And when I say drug testing, I don't mean sort of Nevada style drug testing where you can essentially still take steroids and get away with it if you're smart about it. I mean sort of VADA style drug testing, which is the most stringent. But no, I think Peterson, he has a point to prove. He's definitely out to sort of clear his name after the whole Amir Khan fiasco, and I think you'll see him sort of trying to say in every single fight that I am going to do random blood and urine. But to be honest with you, I've not actually read anything to say that they are doing that for this fight, so I'm not sure.
No, I'm not. I don't think they are doing anything like that. I think they're just leaving it to whatever the state says to do.
Yeah.
Which isn't brilliant, but
yeah. But I think for Peterson's reputation, he needs to reassure the boxing fans and also, to be fair, future opponents that he's testing clean.
Of course, yeah. I mean, if you look at it on face value, he's had 2 steroid scares in 2 fights. For the whole 2 days, they didn't know if it was Kendall Holt or him who failed the test. So you've got to just look at that.
What's even more important is with this testing, which like James says, not 100% sure if they're actually testing or not. I don't really know about it if they are or not. I haven't really read into it. I haven't paid too much attention, even though we should. What better way to say, hey, look, I'm trying to clear my name. Let's do the drug testing, and I want to prove to you guys by taking on probably, what many people claim is the baddest son of a bitch at 140. And if he can pull off the win, I mean, that should clear him. I doubt he would garner a lot of respect if he were to beat Lucas and be clean. I mean, I'd give him all the props in the world.
Yeah, it's very true. I mean, myself, I don't, because the testing's not brilliant in this fight. Both guys are, are a bit shady. Lucas, why you drawing attention to yourself like that? And Lamont, you failed the drug test. You got away with another drug test in the first time you can't fight, and then you just had another scare in your Kendall Hall fight. Granted that neither of them actually tested positive in that fight apparently, but it was a scare nonetheless. These guys need to be doing top of the range testing, showing everyone just that they are really clean fighters. I mean, look at like this. Mayweather's not going to be knocking on Lamont Peterson's door anytime soon, is he? Of course not. You know what I mean? So, especially with, take the test. Yeah, well, he took the test and he failed it. So, that just says it all. Moving on. Lamont Peterson, how can he win this fight, Armando? How can he win this fight?
Man, I like you said before, I think he has a chance, but it's a pretty big hill. If I was his trainer, I mean, how would you even begin to think? Can you outbox the guy? Maybe not. I mean, the only real thing is maybe turn into a boxer puncher, maybe. But the only way is he's got to out-heart Lucas. Can he do it? Yeah, sure. But that, like I said, that's a big feat for him to do.
Yep.
That's just my opinion. He's got to go out there and want it more, and he's shown that in the past that he's wanted it in the past. So he's got heart. He's got heart. He's been knocked down by a lot of fighters. He's always come back and rallied back late. So it really is. He just got to outgrit him. He's got to outlast him. He's got to be more man than Lucas.
Yep. Chris, how can Lamont win the fight?
I think he needs an absolute miracle, mate. I just don't think.
Oh, come on, no, right, Chris. Just for the sake of this video, for this audio, right? How in your wildest dreams, if you had a crystal ball and you could make it happen, how would you go about Lamont Peterson winning this fight? Or you're the trainer, how would you instruct him to win this fight?
Not to get hit.
Yeah, well...
He's going to have to move a lot. He's going to have to keep Matthysse off balance a lot.
Yep.
He could get helped. It could be a robbery. It's happened before.
Oh, we're going to come back. Come back to that in a bit. We'll leave you there, Chris, because we've got something about that in a little bit of time. Go on, Paul. We're going to move on to Paul. How would Lucas win this fight? No, not Lucas. Lamont.
I agree 100% with Armando. He's got to out-heart Matthysse, because Peterson's been to the deep water, hasn't he? He's been to the trenches and he's come out the other side. Has Matthysse ever done that? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Peterson's got so much heart. If he can make it through the early rounds, where he is likely going to start slow, and Mathisse's going to jump on him. If he can make it through the early rounds, then I think as the fight goes on, he'll get stronger and stronger. And he's got to take Matthysse to a place he's never been before, because Peterson's been there a few times and he's kind of he's survived. So he's got to out-heart and out-man Matthysse.
Okay, yeah. James?
Yeah, I do sort of agree, up to a point with that. I think to be honest, without sitting on the fence too much, I think with a fight of this sort of magnitude, it's definitely one of the fights which is going to determine who's the supreme ruler at 140. So you can't just do one thing in a fight like that, especially against a guy like Matthysse, who is he's coming to destroy. So I think he needs to do a little bit of boxing, obviously on the back foot, frustrating Matthysse. Pete, I don't know exactly what Peterson's reach is, but he looks like he's got quite a long reach. He's quite a lanky guy. So I think he needs to utilise those skills, which sometimes he maybe doesn't utilise them. But I've seen him box at range before. I think he can do that against Matthysse and frustrate him. And I think also getting on the inside, but not stand in sort of the punching range that Matthysse likes, but to get on his chest and to try and rough him up a little bit and overwhelm him. And yeah, I suppose try and take him into deep water and drown him. But I think he has to do a little bit of everything.
Yeah, okay. I mean, for me, like I said, he's got to really show us something different. I mean, he's got to show us something that I've not seen him do before. He'll have to be very confident on the back foot. I mean, I don't think he's more slick than a Jose, and I think he's going to have to be slicker than a Jose. He'll have to have got some foot speed. He'll have to have sorted out his movement much better. If he starts the fight slow, the fight's over already. He's going to lose the fight, even on points, if he starts the fight slow. He's got to start fast. If he drops any of the first 5 rounds, I'm going to say first 5, he's lost the fight, in my opinion. Because Lucas is he's a bit like Eric Morales in the fact that he builds tempo as the fight progresses. So, he's got to start fast. He's got to keep on the back. He's got to keep moving. He's got to keep that jab out. He's got to reset those angles. He's got to keep Matthysse off balance. He's got to get his respect as well somehow. I mean, and he's got to keep that defense, watertight. If that defense is not watertight, then it also could be all over in a round, in just a second. So it's a big task for him. But now we're going to move on to my next question, which is, Armando, is there any chance that Lamont Peterson could rob Lucas Matthysse here? And I mean, I'm going to say that because Lamont Peterson's had 2 controversial decisions. I didn't think he deserved the Victor Ortiz draw. I thought Ortiz did enough to win that fight. Honestly.
Where are these guys fighting?
I think it's in
Atlantic City.
Atlantic City.
Yeah, and Amir Khan, obviously that was very, very, very close and controversial.
Could Lamont win by robbery?
Yeah,
I mean, it could happen. I mean, it can go 12 rounds. It can easily go 12 rounds. Sometimes these judges, you'll get a weird 116, 112, when realistically it can be 115, 113, or 115, just stuff like that. I mean, it's all up to, obviously, this is boxing 101. The judges, sometimes they won't see fights clearly as, say, somebody, watching it through the television. If it goes 12 rounds, which I don't think it will, could Lamont get a robbery? Maybe. I mean, I really don't know. I mean, I have no idea. I can't really. Yes and no. It's not even really an answer. So
no, commit yourself.
Skip over me. Yeah,
commit yourself to an answer, Armando.
Yeah. Commit. I can't.
No, you've
commit.
got to. I've got a gun to your head.
Well, if you got a gun to my head, then I have to commit. Then.
I'm clocking.
No, he can't. No, he can't win with a robbery.
Okay, Chris.
I think if you look at facts at both the records, he can definitely win via a robbery. Peterson. If you watch the Ortiz fight, I mean, I had Ortiz winning that fight. If you watch the Khan fight, I mean, referee helped him throughout the fight anyway. He continuously went and hit. Continuously went in with his head on Amir Khan. Never got told once about it. If you watch Matthysse, look at the Judah fight. Look at the Alexander fight. Questionable decisions going against him. He can definitely get robbed in this fight, Matthysse, but it won't happen.
So you could see it happening, but you don't expect it to happen because he's going to get sparked out. Okay, Paul, what do you reckon?
Oh yeah, I think he could definitely win by robbery, to be honest.
Yep.
He's won by robbery before. Matthysse lost by robbery before. Peterson, he's got the better promoter, hasn't he?
Yeah, go on, boy.
It's not nice to say, but Matthysse, fact is, he's not. I don't think he draws as much money as Peterson.
Nope.
Would do. It's not nice to say, but it's all about boxing politics, isn't it?
Yep.
Peterson would make more money being the winner out in this fight than Matthysse would. It's just as simple as that.
Plus, here's something else. What do you think about Peterson versus Garcia compared to Matthysse versus Garcia? One of them's got much more risk than the other.
Exactly. Yeah, the powers that be would not want Matthysse fighting Garcia. Tell you, this is what I personally think. Matthysse is one of those fighters where the boxing politicians, I'll call them, would much rather he stay the the challenger and the champion sort of thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He'd much rather him build his way up than actually get his hands on the belt and have some kind of bargaining power. He'd much rather keep him at an arm's length.
Yeah.
But as far away from their money fighters as they can. So yeah, to be honest, I think Peterson, it's very, very likely that I think he could win a decision, a robbery decision.
Okay, James, what do you reckon, pal?
Yeah, I think like history tells us that Peterson can win by robbery. Obviously, he got a questionable decision against Amir Khan, and that was truly in his hometown. That was in Washington D.C.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that's definitely why the referee was just unbelievable in that fight, deducting 2 points. You know, for pushing, which I've never seen before. I don't know if anybody else has, but I've personally never seen that.
No, I mean, it's another thing, right? I just want to point this out. I see a lot of fighters, you know, really take the piss. You know what I mean? Really take the piss. I mean, Vladimir Klitschko, when he fouls, he really takes the piss, and I've not seen him get a point deduction in years. So, you know, I mean, it beggars belief how Amir got two against him there, you know.
Did he get a point deduction against David Hay?
I think he did, yeah.
Yeah, well, there you go. That was years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think that's the last time I've seen a referee actually come down on him in any way, shape or form.
He got counted in that fight for getting pushed over David Hay.
Yeah.
So he evened it up.
But yeah, I think, you know, like the Ortiz draw. I mean, I wouldn't sort of count that as a robbery because I do think that Victor Ortiz threw that fight away.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the real questionable decision is definitely the one against Amir Khan. But I think there's a few things to sort of say that and there's another thing to consider as well. Why he could get the robbery, is the fact that he's the bigger money fighter, and if he wins, it can set up a rematch with Amir Khan, which would obviously be a big money fight. It'd be redemption. Yeah. You know, there's a lot of attractive fights out there for him against Garcia. I think Garcia would probably prefer to go in with a Lamont Peterson, who's shown he can get caught and get hurt, as opposed to a bit of an unknown quantity in Lucas Matthysse.
Oh, of course. I think most people would rather Lamont Peterson. Yeah.
You know, a lot of the vested interests at Golden Boy would prefer Peterson to win this fight. But then on the flip side, it's in Atlantic City. You know, that is you know, that isn't particularly favourable to Peterson. It's not particularly favourable to Matthysse. Secondly, Matthysse recently signed with Al Heyman. Now, everybody knows that Al Heyman fighters get looked after. I'm not saying that they get robberies all the time, but you know they do get looked after, and obviously Al Heyman has a very, very good relationship with Golden Boy. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of people out there who think that Peterson's been thrown in with Matthysse almost as a sacrificial lamb.
Yeah, thrown under the bus.
Yeah, to set Matthysse up to rule over the 140 division, because obviously Garcia's moving up, Khan's moving up, everybody else is moving up, and you can leave Matthysse there to fight whoever's left. So I don't think this fight's set up for a robbery. I think, and Matthysse as well is with Golden Boy, so I don't think Golden Boy will lean into Peterson too much in this fight. No, I think it'll be a fair judge fight, hopefully.
Okay, yeah. I mean, personally, can I see a robbery in this fight? It's not inconceivable in this fight that it ends in a decision that people are like, what? But hopefully it's not, and I'd rather it was not. Back to the thing, you know, evidence. Lucas has already got 2 questionable decisions against Americans in America. You know, Lamont Peterson, an American in America, who's also got a questionable decision over another foreign fighter. So yeah. You have to ask, don't you? Turn your speakers down a bit, Paul.
Sorry, I just took the headphones off.
Okay. But that's basically all that we're going to talk about today, I think. Yeah, so overall, you want to give your predictions for the actual fight? Armando, who's going to win and how? And when?
Who's going to win? I think the fight is probably 55-45 in favor of Lucas. I'm rooting for Lucas, but Peterson definitely has a chance. He definitely has a chance to win. I don't think Lucas is going to walk over him like he did to, the past couple of fighters.
Mm-hmm.
I think Peterson is going to do better than Josie did, in my opinion. I just think that it's just, you can easily say 50-50, but I think I'm edging 55-45 in favor of Lucas.
Okie doke. Chris, your prediction, please.
I see this as completely one-sided in my opinion. I think Matthysse will knock Peterson out inside 5 rounds. I think it'll be devastating. He'll catch him. Peterson won't recover, and it'll be all over.
Cool. Paul?
Peterson, majority decision. I think it'll be very, very close. But again, going back to what I said before, I think Peterson's got great heart. He's got great powers of recovery, even if he's not got the best chin. I think he might just be able to make it through the early rounds, and as the fight goes on, he'll get stronger, and he'll bank enough rounds where I think, because of the fact he's the money fighter, he might just get the nod from the judges. And again, Matthysse going to come away thinking, I got robbed there. But I really do think it's going to be Peterson, and he'll want to fight Danny Garcia all the time.
Okay. James?
It's such a tough one to call because there's so many different factors to consider. But I'm gonna go with my heart on this one. I think Peterson throws too wide at times. He throws big sort of wide hooks, and he does get caught early. And even though I've sort of questioned Mathisse's concussive power, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and sort of believe in his power. And if he does catch him early, he should be able to put him away. And I think hopefully he'll have learned from his previous 2 big fights against Zab Judah and Devon Alexander, where he did essentially let those guys off the hook. So I think he'll catch up to Peterson. I think he'll stop him mid-rounds.
Okay. So it's 3-1 on the scorecards here. Who am I going to give it to? Lucas Matthysse via unanimous decision. I see, basically, the only thing I can see is he's coming in with no respect for Matthysse. He's going to try and slug it out with him. Like I pointed out before, Soto tried to do that, couldn't do it. Jose couldn't run away from him. He cut the ring down too fast and beat him up. Unfortunately, beat him up. Honestly, one of my favourite fighters is Jose Alushkin. Beat him up. So I'm going to say Lucas Matthysse is going to get a decision. I honestly think Lamont's going to have enough of a chin and enough heart to make it through the fight. But I'm going to tell you something else though. I'm going to tell you something else, and this may shock a few people. I'm actually going to bet on Lamont Peterson points decision. I'm going to bet on Lamont Peterson points decision, but I'm going to predict Lucas Matthysse to win the fight.
So what's going to happen come fight night? You're going to be like, let's go Peterson, but then you're like,
I'm not going to
bet my money, but then
Lucas
Matthysse, No, I see what you're trying to do.
No,
though.
you see, I mean, like I said, I am a big Matthysse fan, but I'm going to even it up by putting some money on Peterson. So, at the end of the day, whenever I put money on a fight, I just root for them.
Guys, real quick. Is this Lamont's toughest fight, and is this Lucas Mathisse's toughest fight?
Yes and no.
Is this Lamont's toughest fight?
Yeah, I'd say so. This is a fight he could get really badly hurt in this fight because he gets caught so early. He's going up against a genuine puncher. This guy could do some damage to him.
Yeah, I think it's both of their toughest fights.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree.
But the thing is, my prediction, obviously, I said, I think Matthysse is can stop him. I think he'll probably stop him mid-rounds. But I'm genuinely 50-50 because I could easily see, on the flip side, for me, if it goes the distance, Peterson's won the fight. I can't see Matthysse win a decision because I think he's too economical with his punches. I think Peterson's work is going to be more eye-catching to the judges if it does go the distance. So I'm really torn. But I think
the biggest mover I've seen this year in betting, Lamont Peterson for this fight. He has collapsed in price to win this fight.
Yeah.
So you think this fight against Matthysse is a bigger, tougher fight than Bradley, than Ortiz, and than Khan?
Yeah.
No, I think that Bradley at 140, I think he beats anybody at 140. When he was there, I think he's massively underrated. I know.
So this may not be Lamont's toughest fight. You think?
No, I think it is because I think he's in massive danger of being stopped early because of the fact that Matthysse, you know, from what we can see, from what we know, he's got ridiculous punching power. We'll see, you know, if he can display it on the biggest stage. But up until this point, he's put Zabjuda down. He couldn't finish him because I think he was a little bit green. He put Devin Alexander down. He won the fight, but he couldn't finish him. There's definitely there's a slight question mark over his power for me, but I think the fact that the run that he's been on and how destructive he does look when he gets on a roll, and that he's definitely developed as a fighter, Peterson is in massive trouble of being stopped early. Whereas against Bradley, he's not a big puncher, Bradley, so he was never going to get stopped early.
Yeah.